There is a version of your life you have never lived, not because the opportunity never came, not because you lack the talent, the time, or the resources, but because somewhere along the way, you started running your decisions through a filter, a silent, invisible filter that asks one question before you say anything, wear anything, try anything, or become anything. What will they think? And that question has cost you more than you know. You probably cannot remember exactly when it started. Most people cannot. Researchers who study social development point to early adolescence, somewhere between the ages of 10 and 14, when something shifts in the brain. Dr. Sarah-Jayne Blakemore, a neuroscientist at University College London, who has spent decades studying the teenage brain, found that adolescents show dramatically heightened sensitivity to social evaluation compared to adults. The brain literally rewires itself to care intensely about how others perceive you. For your ancestors, that made sense. Being cast out of the group was a death sentence. Social rejection in the ancient world meant no shelter, no food, no protection. Your nervous system learned to treat disapproval as a threat to your survival, not a metaphor, an actual biological threat. The problem is that your brain never fully updated the code. You are no longer a teenager huddled in a cave afraid of exile, but your nervous system still responds to social judgment the way it would respond to a predator. And so you hesitate, you hold back, you choose the safer answer, the quieter path, the version of yourself that is the least likely to be criticized. And you call it being realistic. You call it being mature. You call it knowing your place. But what if it is none of those things? What if it is simply fear wearing a reasonable disguise? Here's what the research actually shows. In a landmark series of studies, psychologist Thomas Gilovich at Cornell University investigated what he called the spotlight effect. He and his colleagues had participants wear embarrassing t-shirts into a room full of strangers and then estimate how many people had noticed. Participants consistently overestimated by nearly double. The people in the room barely paying attention. Because here is the uncomfortable truth about the thing you fear most. Everyone else is too busy worrying about their own spotlight to watch yours. Think about the last time you were in a crowd. Think about how much of your mental energy went toward wondering how you appeared, what percentage of those people were watching you, and what percentage were doing exactly the same thing you were doing, quietly calculating how they looked to the people around them. The audience you are performing for does not exist, not in the way you imagine it, not as a jury seated and attentive, waiting for you to stumble so they can deliver a verdict. The people whose opinions paralyze you are largely preoccupied with their own lives, their own fears, their own invisible audiences. This is not a comfort, it is a revelation. Because if that is true, and the evidence says it is, then the prison you are living in has no walls, only the belief that they exist.